Welcome to Miners Easy Sunday. And you know how we do every Sunday? We hang out with the biggest stars ever. And yes, this Sunday we are hanging out with Brandy, one of the most talented R&B singers you're ever going to find in the industry. So how did her story begin? Like most R&B singers in the church. But then things continued to change. She kept her circle small. That included her mother as a manager. And then the real transformation begun. This is where Brandy's story starts.
Brandy Rihanna Norwood was born in 1979 in the sleepy railroad town of Macomb, Mississippi, to devout Christian parents.
My family was very religious growing up. Church was everything. Jesus was everything.
When Brandy was 4, the family moved to Carson, California, where Brandy's father got a job as the music minister at the Southside Church of Christ. It was here that Brandy discovered her voice on the gospel stage.
It was eerie, actually. She could do things with her voice that was uncanny.
It would just touch people. She captured everybody's hearts.
Singing in church, I was just able to sing with so much freedom because at church, I didn't feel like there was any judgment. I just felt very supported.
Brandy felt right at home on the church altar, but her destiny was forever changed when she attended her first Whitney Houston concert at the age of 7.
As soon as she seen her, she started crying. And she kind of like broke down and kind of fell down for a minute.
I was mesmerized by her talent and her gift. And I was blown away at how she made the people in the audience feel. From tears of joy, from the screaming and the love that she was receiving. I'm like, oh my God. From that moment, I realized that this is something that I want to do.
Let's get up for Miss Brandy Norwood. Let's get up.
The Norwoods nurtured their daughter's gift, and Brandy began performing at local talent shows in Carson and Watts.
I knew I was going to become a star because I didn't want anything else. Every morning when I woke up, before I went to bed at night, that's what I dreamt of. That's what I wanted.
Brandy's family arranged for her to record demos and shop them around for years. Then, in January of '93, Brandy finally got her big chance when executives at Atlantic Records agreed to meet with her. After hearing her sing, they offered the 13-year-old a deal on the spot.
She looked the president, Sylvia Rowan, in the eye and said, I'm going to make you proud of me.
I really believed in what my gift was, and I wasn't afraid. I was ready for anything. Boy, if I could get just a little bit of that back.
After signing the deal, Brandy's mother quit her job to become her full-time manager.
Sonia was so confident in Brandy's future that she focused completely on managing Brandy because she wanted to make sure that every aspect of her career was handled perfectly.
She wanted to be very much involved in my career, and that was the best thing for me at the time.
All right, now I want you guys to take care of her when she's out here.
In September of '94, Brandy released her self-titled debut album. Her first single, I Want to Be Down, exploded onto the charts.
She was literally an overnight sensation.
The label was blown away. Brandy was blown away.
When your first single went out there and it was a big hit, how did you feel?
I felt really, really loved by America.
Within months, Brandy went quadruple platinum and produced 4 top 10 singles.
I can't keep my cool, baby, baby.
At 15, her range was incredible. There was no one, and still is no one, singing the way she was singing.
It's a perfect situation.
And that's something that is not taught, and that's something that comes from the gut.
the God-fearing girl next door was instantly transformed into America's new R&B princess.
Brandy was America's sweetheart. She's clean-cut, all-American girl next door. She really became a role model instantly.
I do see myself as a role model, and seeing myself as a role model is going to keep me positive.
She was definitely a trendsetter, and she had this clean, squeaky image. Every mother wanted their daughter to be like Brandy.
You like that? But I'm not going to be trying that on because my mom will kill me.
I think the image of Brandy at the time was perfection. And as a teenager, you are not doing everything the right way. You're starting to like boys. You are starting to transition into being a young woman.
Come to Miners Easy Sunday. We're hanging out with superstar Brandy Norwood. So she's transformed from this church-going girl to this R&B superstar. And then, like every superstar at a very young age, she starts getting a lot of attention. But not just from anyone, from one key member of Boyz II Men. Remember, she was only 15 at this age. Her mother went crazy. But guess what? They dated for a long time. Listen to that story, and also how Brandy discovered she can do well on TV and on the silver screen. The world of Hollywood opened its doors to her. Take a listen.
In October of '94, Brandy got a call from pop heartthrob Wanya Morris from Boyz II Men.
I was like, Wanya as in Wanya Morris of Boyz II Men is calling on this phone? Like, really? So we met, and of course, as a 15-year-old, I'm looking up at him like, oh my God, is this really happening?
Everybody fell in love, and we was like, we have to have her rolling with us on tour, you know?
Wanya invited Brandy to open for Boyz II Men on their nationwide tour. Brandy found herself secretly falling for him.
There is no one else I think more than you.
The only problem, she wasn't allowed to date.
I'm just in love with somebody, can't tell him. Too young to tell him. I can't really tell my mom. She'll have a heart attack. As a mother and a manager, what do I do?
She was on every show performing. She's touring. She had made it.
It was building a positive brand that not was just a success domestically, but it was an international phenomenon. I was proud and I was excited for her.
I was winning. I was living this dream that I always dreamt of living.
Then, without a single screen test, the UPN network offered the 16-year-old her own TV series. Brandy would play a smart, independent girl next door named Moesha.
She was sweet. She was young. She was innocent. She couldnn't do no wrong.
I gotta go to work. I'll see y'all later. Moesha was pretty much perfect. Straight A's, had her entire life together because it was all about setting this perfect image.
The show became a huge hit, running for 6 seasons. But while Moesha may have had it all together, Brandy was just a normal teenage girl struggling with all kinds of issues, like her growing infatuation with Boyz II Men heartthrob Wanya Morris. By the time they shot the video for their duet, Broken Hearted, in July of '95, the 16-year-old could barely contain her emotions.
I'm young, but I'm wise enough to know that you don't fall in love overnight.
One day I got the courage to tell Wanya how I felt. I just told him that I loved him, and I thanked him for making me feel the way I feel, because I had never felt that way before. He was just like, wow. The relationship took a transition, and we became a couple.
It was kind of cute to watch them because it was puppy love. She was like a little schoolgirl, very much so in love with Wanya.
I was on a high. It was love. It was real love.
But when Brandy told her management about Wanya, they weren't happy. Dating an older man did not fit Brandy's squeaky clean image.
Immediately, everything was about my career. You know, what are you teaching young girls? Do they fall in love at a young age? Is that wrong? Is that a sin?
Brandy and Wanya were forced to hide their affections from the public. For 2 years, they carried on an intense secret relationship.
She couldn't hold hands or give a smooch or do any of the normal things that people our age dating would do.
The family kept it a secret. Boys to Men kept it a secret. It was a big secret.
No, I don't have a boyfriend. All the rumors about the Wanya, Morris, Boys to Men, that's not my boyfriend.
It just made me feel like I was all by myself and that whatever I'm feeling personally is going to have to be put to the side.
I don't have a boyfriend, but I wish him well in all that he does.
Ultimately, the secrecy and pressures of their careers started to pull Brandy and Wanya apart. And in the spring of '97, they decided to go their separate ways.
He fell in love with someone else. So the worst feeling is to be in love all by yourself. That feels up, honestly. It just does. And that's the only way I can really put it. It felt like somebody had just completely taken my heart out of my body and just crushed it.
18-year-old Brandy entered the studio to record her second album, Never Say Never, in August of '97. Working with producer Rodney Jerkins, Brandy channeled her Heartbreak into a groundbreaking collection of songs.
If you would only treat me right.
Brandy connects with people because she's able to speak everything that she goes through in that booth. That's when she shines the most, is when she's able to give you her story.
It wasn't about just getting great songs and, you know, riding the charts. It was about, I need to get some off my chest.
When we were doing the song Tomorrow, it was totally about her situation with Wanya. And there was plenty of times when she recorded that song that she was crying.
Goodbye, I'm leaving you. Oh.
It was me really coming into my own and not being afraid to be vulnerable, not being afraid to sing what I felt for real.
The emotional honesty of the album connected to Brandy's fans in a big way.
Okay, I'm finished now.
She's now started seeing she's got a talent in acting. She literally takes it to another level where she actually co-stars alongside her biggest mentor. And how did she meet Monica and come up with that humongous #1 hit single that won them a Grammy Award? Well, listen up. And she also speaks about what a lot of female stars are going through right now, eating disorders. Yes, Brandy had it. Listen to the continuation of her story.
Never Say Never really cemented Brandy as a superstar.
That album combined so many different sounds of music. That dynamic of her and Rodney, you know, it changed the sound of music.
Never Say Never sold more than 5 million copies, unleashing 6 top 10 singles, including her #1 smash, The Boy Is Mine with Monica, which remained at the top of the charts for 13 straight weeks.
We had the longest #1 single in Atlantic Records history with The Boy Is Mine.
Thanks for all y'all support, too, making our song stay #1 for 13 weeks. We appreciate that. Double platinum, y'all.
It earned Brandy her first ever Grammy.
Brandy and Monica.
Before they can get the E that goes at the end of my name, Brandy, I'm running to the stage like, oh my God, this is it.
I don't think she wants this, y'all. I know this is totally out of my image, but yo, this is a Grammy, man. We can go all we want, Mom.
Brandy seemed to be living out a fairy tale, literally.
Who are you? I'm your fairy godmother, honey. You got a problem with that?
In the fall of '97, she was cast by her childhood idol, Whitney Houston, in the remake of Disney's Cinderella.
The music's in you, deep down in your soul.
She gave me the opportunity to be the first African-American princess.
On On set, Brandy and Whitney developed a close relationship that would endure through the years.
That entire experience, it's just surreal. Like I'm singing with someone I dreamt about every night. You know, this person awakened a dream within me. She was so cool and she was just so down to earth. She was a light, one of the brightest lights I've ever seen.
Brandy appeared to be the girl who had it all. Mattel even created a line of dolls in her image.
I felt special, you know, to be this African-American woman and your doll is in the store next to Barbie. That's really something. And I still have all 6 at the house, sitting up on a little mantle.
Everything she did, from the sitcom to the music to the Barbie to the movies, is just something that little black girls had never seen. And I think she broke a color barrier.
But the pressures of fame were starting to take a toll on her mentally and physically.
On the outside, everybody saw this amazing person who had everything, but that's not what she saw when she looked in the mirror. She felt she was never as good as everybody else thought that she was.
By the age of 19, she had developed an eating disorder.
I wanted to be so thin. That was like my main thing. And so I started not taking care of myself, not eating properly, not eating at all, diet pills, regurgitating, and all of these things that girls do. People don't understand that being the hottest star or making the most money does not mean anything. I'm here to tell you I was making so much money. I was omnipresent. And I was the unhappiest teenager probably in the world.
When you thought Brandy was that nice, good-imaged girl, even she had her own skeletons in the closet, because when she hooked up with Rodney Jerkins III, he's a super producer, she ended up hooking up with a guy called Robert Smith. Now, this is where the drama is. Robert gets Brandy pregnant. Brandy has got this squeaky clean image, so she's got to lie that she's married to Robert Smith, and it goes on and on and on. Robert then goes on national TV and just ropokas and says the truth, and everything seems to come crumbling down for Brandy. Want to hear the definition of drama? Take a listen.
At the age of 21, Brandy was struggling to live up to the public's expectations of her.
To always have to be on, even when you're off, is a challenge. And wow, I did that for a very, very long time.
In the fall of 2000, she returned to the studio to work on her highly anticipated 3rd album, Full Moon.
Brandy was creatively involved. She would come into the studio, she would say, this happened last night, and we would take that and turn it into a record. It was very organic. The flow of it was very real.
In the midst of recording, Brandy found herself falling for a new man, music producer Robert Smith.
I saw you soon as you came bouncing through the door.
Robert and I were like 2 peas in a pod. We hung out all the time, and I felt very comfortable with him and very safe with him.
Something tells me you're the kind of guy I'd like to get to know.
But when she found herself unexpectedly pregnant with Robert's child, she had to break the news to her family.
That was something that was not okay for the Brandy brand. That wasn't cool. I was raised with the Christian foundation. It's a sin to get pregnant out of wedlock. That's not allowed. So I was scared. I didn't know what to do.
Brandy's management immediately came up with a plan to preserve her wholesome image.
Everybody around me is trying to force me to get married. And so I said, why don't I just say I'm married? Because I don't want to get married. So why don't I just say it? And it was the biggest mistake I had ever made.
In January of 2002, the PR campaign went into full gear, and Brandy started telling people she had secretly gotten married.
We also heard rumors that you were engaged and even married.
Yes, I am married. I can't tell you the time or the date. That's between us, but it was at the end of the summer, and it was very private. It was just him and I, and it's the best life to have when you're in love with someone.
A month later, Brandy revealed to the world that she was pregnant. And in an effort to control the story, Brandy agreed to allow cameras to follow the last month of her pregnancy in MTV's reality series Special Delivery.
She needed the public to believe that she was still America's sweetheart. And it's on MTV, so everyone has to believe that this is the truth.
On Father's Day 2002, Brandy gave birth to her baby girl, Sarah.
She's beautiful. It hasn't even hit me yet.
When I first saw Sarah, it was like the most overwhelming feeling I have ever felt in my life. This unconditional love just entered my being. She looked at me and says, okay, it's just me and you. That's what her eyes told me when she was born. And it completely changed my life.
Brandy had finally found that unconditional love with her daughter. But her relationship with Robert Smith wasn't working. In the summer of 2004, Brandy started telling the press that she had gotten a divorce.
I went into too much detail about my feelings for our relationship because of the friendship that we did have. I didn't respect that, and that caused him to get angry.
On July 20th, 2004, Robert Smith revealed to the world that the marriage had been a lie.
Robert Smith came on my radio show. I thought he was coming to promote his artist, but he in fact came with the agenda to tell me and the world that he and Brandy were never married. That was the scoop of a lifetime.
And what is going on with that?
I'm just as shocked as everybody else. This is all news to me. When that hit the fan, it was like, oh my God, you know, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna recover from this? But right now, it's really about my fans knowing that, you know, I just wouldn't deliberately lie to them, just to save my image.
Brandy's handlers never allowed her to own up to her mistake, and she hasn't been able to fully address the controversy until today.
If I was woman enough to lay down and get pregnant by someone, then I should have been woman enough to admit that that's what took place. And I'm telling my team and everybody around me, I have to say I'm sorry. No. You can't say that you're sorry. No one did. We have to twist this. We have to turn it. And although at the time I wished that he would have taken a different approach, but I'm glad he didn't, looking back. Because to be able to tell that truth and to now live that truth with a beautiful daughter at my hip, I feel much better about myself that I can come clean and say, I was afraid, I was scared, I was lost, I didn't know what to do.
At the time, the scandal took a devastating toll on Brandy's reputation and career.
Made everyone kind of raise an eyebrow at Brandy, and suddenly you're like, was this America's sweetheart? Because I'm a little confused.
The lie about being married was the fall of my career. Everything changed. Everything changed.
Mine is Easy Sunday, and we're hanging out with Brandy. What a story so far, eh? Now, just when you thought it can't get worse, you know they say it pours, it rains. It does. She's involved in a fatal car accident. Someone dies in the accident, and as a result, just things don't happen for her. Her album Aphrodisiac starts losing sales and starts bleeding money, and then just when she thought, look, it's gotta be it, the death of Whitney Houston. She was her biggest mentor, her biggest source of inspiration. And how did her death affect Brandy? Listen up.
At the age of 25, Brandy was ready to move past scandal and win back her fans. Brandy decided to head in a new direction musically. In June of 2004, she released her fourth album, Aphrodisiac, projecting a sexier image.
Oh my God, I felt so awkward trying to wear that sexy face. And why am I in water half naked? Why am I, in the water with 4 boys splashing every damn where?
She's rolling around on the ground and she's trying to be sexy, and it just wasn't believable. It's like, what are you doing right now?
I didn't believe it. So why should anyone else?
Aphrodisiac sold less than 500,000 copies, millions less than her previous 2 albums. But Brandy soon found herself involved in a situation that was far more tragic.
The day the accident happened, it was a gloomy, gloomy day. Something wasn't right in the air. I was just driving home. And it happened.
Yeah, East 405, right before Ventura Boulevard. Bad accident.
At 10:30 a.m. on December 30th, 2006, Brandy was involved in a terrible accident on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. According to police reports, Brandy's SUV failed to slow in traffic and slammed into the vehicle in front of her at 65 miles an hour. A 4-car pileup occurred.
911. Yeah, there's just a massive car accident on the 405.
There's 2 vehicles. I think there's fatalities or, injuries big time.
Awatef Abudiaj, a 38-year-old mother of 2, was killed in the accident.
It was a blur, and it was one of those experiences that you wish would never happen to anybody. But it did, and that was one of the worst times in my life.
Singer and television star Brandy was in a horrific multiple vehicle accident.
And now everyone's saying that I'm the blame.
Tonight, sensational new developments as we wait to hear whether R&B star Brandy is going to be charged with manslaughter and even go to jail.
Regardless if it was my fault or not my fault, I was involved in something that cost someone their life. Whoever fault it was, I was in it.
In January of 2007, the police officially opened an investigation into the accident.
What are you going to do with Brandy? Are you going to file charges?
We are going to take it very seriously.
I would hear what people would say, and still to this day, people, they know that that's a button. They know that they can call me a murderer or call me someone that, killed someone. They know that that is a button for me. A murderer is someone who premeditates it. I didn't wake up that day to be involved in a fatal car crash. I didn't plan for that. And if I could take it back, I would.
In December of 2007, after a year-long investigation, prosecutors found that there was insufficient evidence to charge Brandy with any crimes.
The truth is the truth. And when they found the truth of it, it was a great relief for our family.
I just wanted people to know that this wasn't news. It's not something that should be talked about like it's gossip. If you don't like me, fine. But don't use this situation to try to hurt me, because the guilt of being involved is enough. And it's something that I will never truly get over. Ever. This is amazing. It feels so good to be back on stage. I haven't been in a while.
Brandy channeled all of her pain from the experience into her 5th album, Human.
Your life is going too fast, off the train track. I can slow it down.
Released in December of 2008, it was Brandy's first attempt to move beyond the dark cloud she was living under.
I really wanted people to realize that I'm just like you. That's one of the reasons why the album was called Human, is because that's all I am.
I've said sorry over 1,000 times.
It was her way of apologizing. She wanted people to know that she makes mistakes.
I'm only human. Forgive me. I'm only human.
I've just dedicated my life to living with a purpose. And I think as long as that is what my life is about, is my divine purpose, that I can move on with peace of what has happened with that situation.
She was preparing to debut her first single at Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party in February 2012. Brandy was excited that her mentor and friend Whitney Houston was in town to see her, and Whitney came to the rehearsals.
She hadn't seen me on stage in so long, and she just came right in, like, you know, just her feisty self, just happy to be there. And she goes, "Tell Ricky to turn that band down. I can't hear you guys." And I was like, maybe you should tell Ricky, because, you know, Ricky Minor's a legend. She was like, "No, you tell him to turn that band down." And I just thought that was so funny and so cute. It's the last time I saw her.
2 days later, on February 11th, 2012, Brandy received the terrible news.
The Beverly Hilton is usually the festive scene of the annual Clive Davis pre-Grammy party, but tonight it's all turned tragic.
My mom calls me and she says, "Whitney just passed away." Like, Whitney who? And my mom says, "Whitney Houston." And it's almost like my whole life just completely left my body in that moment, and I just fell to the floor. I cried a lot. I laughed a lot. I was singing, and it was very, very sad. I shared some beautiful moments with her, moments that I will never forget.
Now Brandy is doing her best to work through her grief to keep Whitney's spirit alive.
She died on my birthday, so it's like I just feel like I have a responsibility to do everything that she would have wanted me to do. I have to stay true to that intention and true to being an inspiration and a light. That's what she would want. She gave me so much, so much. She gave me a dream.
We're hanging out with Brandy. You'd not have believed her life is so full of drama, would you? Well, after what she's been through, what we've heard before, she then comes out and starts atoning for what she feels are her mistakes, apologizing for the accident. And she then does something that causes a family split. When she starts shooting the Brandy reality show with her brother Ray J, her mother says, "You know what? I'm done being your manager." After seeing a guy called Ryan Davis for quite a while, and they split up as well, at this point, Brandy is now settling down, still looking for Mr. Right, and making up with a friend who actually landed her first ever Grammy Award. Brandy's story continues.
In 2010, Brandy was getting her career back on track after her involvement in a tragic car accident. She decided to return to television, signing on to ABC's Dancing with the Stars. And she opened up her life to cameras for VH1's reality series, Brandy and Ray J, A Family Business.
This show gave us an opportunity to get to know each other now. We just laid it out on the table.
When it comes to business, it is about my life. I'm like, oh my God, that we're really playing this out on camera. But I feel like it brought my family closer together, and it helped me to see some of the things that I couldn't see before.
During the filming, Brandy's mom decided to step down from her role as manager after 20 years of working with her daughter.
I will be there for you when you need me, and I will not interfere with the things that are going on in your life. Okay. My mom actually decided that it was best for her to just let me spread my wings and fly. And she said, "Bran, I definitely feel like you're ready to be in control of your own life."
In 2011, Brandy started taking the reins of her own career. She signed a new deal with Breon Prescott's Chameleon Entertainment and RCA Records and started working on her 6th album.
She has a gift. Her voice is an instrument. I think she's using the instrument in a different way than she's ever used it before. She's pouring her heart out on this album, and she sounds better than she's ever sounded in her life.
I'm very excited because I haven't heard myself over music this good in a very long time.
Brandy reunited with her old friend Monica to record a new duet called It All Belongs to Me. In February of 2012, Brandy was trying to come to terms with the death of her idol and close friend, Whitney Houston. Now, as she prepares to release her new album after a 4-year absence from the industry, Brandy is determined to do things her way.
It's empowering to make my own decisions, and it hasn't always been that way. Rightfully so, I was young, but now that I'm 32, I just feel like I'm in control of my life.
There's a confidence that she's exuding now. It's not arrogance, but now I'm doing it my way, and I know exactly who I am, and I'm very proud of who I am. She wants to make her fans proud. I think that she wants to get back to a level where Brandy was before.
Brandy has moved through a lifetime of struggles, overcoming tragedy, an eating disorder, and heartbreak. And she says she is finally ready to have it all. Career and happiness.
Today, Brandy's in a very good place. She has a good relationship with her daughter, and she has love in her life.
Don't be staring at me, I'm faking.
For now.